everyone, and welcome to the playthrough for Pro Division in the Summer Major Tournament, sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. So let's go. We're going to play with the quarterback here. I'm going to play left side. We do want to put ourselves up for a rough bump. So the reason we're using the quarterback is that the quarterback is going to be working absolutely perfect from this distance. Due to the extended ball guideline, we're going to definitely reach close to the top there with the tailwind. So going to adjust for almost 8 rings, and we'll go with a little bit curl to the right, as we do want to counter for the like the fairway as we're going to have, as it's going to fall down there to the left. Now we do have a sniper here from either like mid or minimum distance of our club. So before we take our second shot, do not forget to check the video description down below. You will see direct like timestamps for the specific holes. That is going to help you out, of course, getting to the hole that you do want to watch. If you do not want to watch hole number 1 or watch the whole video for 25 minutes, then you can just press on the hole that you do want to play, and then you watch it from there. So our opponent's going to go with a dual ball, a power 4 ball in this occasion, and going to try to get as close to the top there as possible as well. Going to be close to the rough, but it's going to make it. The problem you can get there is that you get that extra roll that is going to definitely push yourself into the rough some of the time. So now we're going to play this shot with the sniper. We're going to play it in mid distance, and we're going to adjust this shot for being 20% uphill, which means that we're going to subtract 20% in our adjustment. So we're going to go with 3 bars side and 3 bars back. Sorry, we're going to go with 5 bars side to just use so we get that straight ball guideline. I'm going to aim so the ball guideline is just in the hole, and 6.7 going to mean that we're going to have to adjust down in the bunker. So we're going to leave it with 5 rings, as we're actually going to take away just a tiny little bit more due to the trajectory there. Because when we drop down in the bunker there, we're going to find ourselves losing even more distance. So with that type of wind, 5 rings is definitely going to be enough. So now let's prepare for hole number 2. And hole number 2 is a birdie hole. And of course we're going to do our best to make that hole in 1, but in the end that is one of the holes that it's crucial for us to make a birdie. Like most of the players is going to make a birdie, and if we can find a way to just bounce ourselves towards the green, if we make the hole in 1, we're going to be happy. If we're not, then we're not going to be sad, and that is definitely going to help us big time when it comes to going further in the tournament. So hole number 2, par 3, as I said, we're going to play with the quarterback here. And the quarterback again is definitely going to be a helpful club in this occasion here. So sorry, we're not going to play with the quarterback. We're going to play with a wood club. I'm already in my I'm in my mastermind. It's not mastermind. My master division thinking. So we're going to play with the sniper, of course. We're going to play the sniper in max distance here, and we're going to play this one 30% extra. So we're going to add 30% with our adjustment here with our sniper. So we're going to go with a kingmaker to reduce the wind as much as possible. If you do have a wind 5 ball to spare, then that could be a ball to actually use. We're going to use the right side of this fairway with 1 bar of topspin combined with max side spin with the kingmaker. And now we're going to adjust this shot. 5.2 is going to be equally for us 7.23, something like that. So a little bit more than 7 rings. I'm going to go with half a ball of curl to the right. Might need to go with a little bit more curl to the right though, to get a little bit more push in there. So we get good bounce, get it to roll, coming in a little bit too hot, but a good attempt going towards the green there. Might going to take away going with just half a bar of topspin if we're going to be picky, but in the end I'm definitely going to take that shot any day actually from that distance. So as you can see here, and this is of course a situation we do not want to find ourselves in, like under adjusting or over adjusting to get this ball to get this ball, what can I say, in the bunker or in the rough. Hole number 3. Hole number 3. And now we're going to play this shot actually on the left side. The reason we're doing that is because we are not going to have the club for playing on the right side. And with the club that I mean that we do not have the curl, and I do not want to risk with that minimum amount of curl that we do have on the extra mile level 6 to get ourselves in the rough or in the bunker there, then we're going to have a big problem. So we're going to line it up, not going to use any overpower, and we are going to go with max curl as much as we have, max side spin, max top spin as well. The thing that we do want to do is we do want to have the wrestle that is going to fall down towards the right side of the rough there without risking any of the bunkers or any of the rough. And this is going to be absolutely perfect if we can play this shot every single time. It's definitely going to give us distance enough to bounce with the sniper if we do want to play with the sniper. I do suggest that you do play with like a club with more distance, because that is going to give you the option of going short or going too much on the left side of that fairway that we did shot towards. So, and when we play the drive there, the drive is going to be played uphill, which means that the ball is not going to be affected that much by the wind. So you can basically take away 10 to 20%. I don't have the exact numbers there, but I do feel that 10% works absolutely well, even though we're going to have tailwind there. So we of course need to put our landing position in a good position there, so we are not risking too much. The problem we can have is to do the things that our opponent is doing here, even though he is going to stay before the rough, but like we do want to have some margins for that particular shot. So now for the second shot, we're going to play the second shot 40% extra. And 40% extra is going to give ourselves the bounce that we're going to want to have, and we are going to bounce on the landing position that we do want. Now we are not going to, we're actually going to take away a little bit of distance when it comes to the ball guideline here. I don't really know why I did that, because that is wrong. I should be putting my ball guideline just through the hole as normal, maybe a little bit to the right side due to the bounce that we're going to have. We do have some side spin to the left as well to kind of give ourselves the push to the left that we do want. 40% extra with 6.7 is going to give us 10 rings. And now we're going to hit this ball perfect. As you can see, the ball is going to be pushed and pushed and pushed towards there. But as you can see, we're coming in short, so the ball is not going to have enough speed to get towards the pin. And now we're going to fall down there because the green is going to slope a little bit to the right. With a little bit better with the landing position, like checking the ball guideline a little bit better, then that would absolutely been a better try for us. But we're going to be happy to get those two shots kind of down directly with some minor tweaks. Then we're going to be closer, that's for sure. And then we're going to have the eagle at least, and that is what we are looking for, to get the eagle. So our opponent here has to overpower it a little bit, and he's forgetting to adjust the extra that he needs, which means that he's going to put himself in the rough. And that is the thing that you're going to see from many players when you do forget to adjust that extra, because we're playing from a very high point, and that is very important to have in mind. So for our shot here now we're going to just play ourselves over. We do not have any upgraded big topper. We're not going to have any upgraded apocalypse. So it's going to be very important here that we just find ourselves a way to get as close to the rough on top as possible. We're using a Titan with the extra mile level 6, max topspin, slight overpower, and then we're going to roll nicely towards the pin here. The problem we have here is the problem that I do not want ourselves to find ourselves in, and that is that we do have to bounce either for the rough bump, or we have to bounce just before the green to bouncing it up towards the pin. So our opponent's going to play with a mauling. I think it's very important though that you do play with a ball that you have at least power 1. So the Marlin has, of course, not any power, which, well, with this little amount of with overpower, it needs to go with max overpower, but it's going to play this one and going to most likely end up in the rough or in the rough or in the sand. Rough or in rough, but rough or in the sand. So get into the sand, and now it's our turn. We're going to play with the backbone, and that is the club that is the best for us here. I think so. Or we're going to play, we're going to play with the Saturn, of course. We do have some backspin here, and now it's going to be tough for us, as we kind of need to use the tip of the fairway there to get a very like inconsistent bounce, to get this ball to bounce in the hole. And that is like something that we will have to think about when playing this hole, is how to approach this one. With this account, with these clubs that I'm having, we're not going to have a good time approaching the pin here. So going to go with 1.8 rings, leaving the shot in min distance. So subtracting 10% of our rings there, and then get it to bounce. Oh, a lucky bounce, and we do get an eagle here, which is absolutely amazing, of course, to get that extra there. So very happy with that, and go towards hole number 5, a par 5 that's going to allow us to play in the middle, and it's also going to give us some room to play on the right side. We're going to play with a kingmaker here, and due to not having that good distance, then you're going to go on the right side instead. So we are going to stäng dörren, Amelia. That we're going to go right side here due to the lack of distance here. When we do have, like for an example, X mile level 6, but when we do have the distance, then we can definitely play straightforward. So then in the end, we do decide to do that. We do have an X mile level 8, which is going to be a club that it might going to be a little bit too much upgraded here, but the shot is possible to make with other clubs as well. You do need to just use a little bit more overpower. So we put ourselves there close to the top there, and then we're going to have a good approach towards the pin from that distance, and definitely an opportunity to make an albatross there. So our opponent here is going to play this one on the left side, and that is a no. It's very important that you stay away from the left side, because this is, even if he would be like rolling out there on that fairway without cutting the rough, then he's still going to be having a very long way towards the pin, and that is going to be very, very hard. So we're going to play with the sniper in max distance here, and trying to go for the pin for the albatross. This is a good approach. Having a sniper with this distance is definitely going to help us big time. We will have to have in mind that the ball is going to be our distance is going to be less when we drop down into the bunker. So we're adding, like for 5.5, we do go with 5.5 rings, then moving back slightly. So I will have to say like 5.1, 5.2 rings, something like that. Getting it too much to the right there for me to be happy there, but we did bounce a lot further out as well than we did adjust for with our shot. But due to like having tailwind, then we do not need to overpower, even though we stretch out our club and using that as a landing reference. So as you can see here, our opponent is not going to be able to reach towards the green. It's going to get close though, but in the end we are always looking for a way to get to the green in 2 and also go for the albatross. So hole number 6, one of the tougher par 3s, I will have to say. Now we're actually going to go for the rough bump. And the reason I'm going for the rough bump is that the wind is absolutely perfect for that. We're going to play with a kingmaker here, and going to give ourselves, we can say, we're not going to give ourselves max backspin. We're going to go with 4 bars of backspin, 1 side spin to the right. And I will actually say that I would change to go with 4.5 bar of backspin, combined with no side spin to the right. We do want that position to be perfect there. So we do want to adjust this one 50% extra, and also from a max number. So as you can see, we did go with almost 10 rings with the quarterback there. As when we bounce it very nicely in the rough, but we're coming in a little bit too hot, so therefore we do need to go with 4.5 bar backspin, and also we came in a little bit too much to the right, to take away the side spin to the right as well, then we're going to be close. So, and I think like in pro, this play is definitely going to be possible. I do want you to reduce the wind as much as possible. Have in mind that if you're using, for example, a wind 5 ball like with power 1, power 0, or like in some cases power 2, you're not going to be able to reach if you play with a quarterback. I do like the quarterback for the accuracy and the ball guide, and that gives us an easy time to adjust for it. But in the end, we do need to find ourselves in a way where we don't have to stretch out the club, which we will have to do with less power on our club. So we're going to go there with a kingmaker, adjusting for it, max numbers, adding 50% as we're playing massively downhill. If you're not able to do that and you might want to play with a different way, this way is not bad. Bouncing there on the island, some of the cases, if you are off, you're definitely going to roll over. Otherwise, play directly on the right side. If you do have like a maxed out rocket, that could be a play as well, to go with max backspin on the right side on that fairway, to just curl it in, and with that backspin going to stay nicely on the green for you. So now we do have some very favorable wind. We're going to try a hook shot. The thing we're going to have in mind here is we are not going to have landscape or split screen mode, which means that we're going to use the curl that we do have on our iPad. If you're having like foam curl and not having like curl like the Apocalypse, then I wouldn't suggest for you to go for the hook, because that is going to give yourself a tough time. We do need to come in with a lot of push from the left, as we're going to have like if we compare it from expert and master, we are going to have a big problem with just having some tailwind. Now we do have some slight side wind. We're going to adjust for the rocks there, just having like the ball guideline to be in the middle of the rocks there. We'll go with max overpower combined with like max topspin, which is going to be wrong. As you can see here, we do hit the fairway there, but as you can see, we're coming in way high. But how to tweak that one into our fairway there? Go with 75% overpower. Adjust your landing position like to be on the beginning of the rocks when you go climb up the hill. Max curl with iPad there with Apocalypse if you do have one. Doesn't have to be an Apocalypse level 5, level 6. Can be a level 2, level 3, level 4 as well. But if you do have the Apocalypse, go with that type of shot. Only 4 bars of topspin. Only. Max side spin, and then you should be okay with that. So we need to tweak that, but I wanted to show you one attempt that is definitely not going to be bad. It's like we're going to have a short wedge here towards the pin, which we're going to miss, but in the end it's going to definitely be a good try for us. And we hit it perfect. We're going to hit it great, and we're going to slightly miss. So now we come to the last 2 holes, and those holes are the toughest ones as well. So hole number 8 is going to just be a hole where we're going to focus on getting this one to stay on the green. If we cannot get it to stay to the green, we're going to come in with that so slow as the ball is going to just drop down either right or left and give you no problem to stay on, there on the green. Our opponent here is going to come in a little bit too hot, and as you can see, coming in too hot, you're going to fall down into the rough or into the bunker, and that is something that many players will do. And that is of course not something that we do want to do, but it's something that we will most likely do. So our turn, we're going to go with a kingmaker to reduce the wind as much as possible without having to use a wind 5 ball. We're going to go with max backspin here with the sniper, and we're going to go with just half a bar of side spin to the left here. And Then we're going to adjust from max distance. We're going to add 25% on our adjustment. And we're going to adjust down here, as you can see. We're going to go there with with 8 rings. We do hit it great, which is not good, of course. So we're going to get this one to bounce up here and we're going to fall down. But as we're coming in with that slow speed with the backspin, we're going to get stuck there in the on the fairway or on the fringe and going to have no problem to ship that one in. And that is, in the end, something that I will be satisfied with, especially if we do hit the ball great. So now we're going to actually do an approach here where we are going to play straight forward. We're not going to use the left side. I understand that that might be an easier way to play, but I was kind of looking at this course, but as we're going to have some slight tailwind, and that means as well for the second shot. So if we can reach up there to the top of the fairway to the right, as you can see on the screen, then we're going to have no problem to go for the rough bump kind of close to the pin and give ourselves a decent chance for an albatross. So going from having to say that be very happy with an eagle here to playing for the albatross is something that is just changed by some, of course, not just by myself, but for many other content creators pulling their heads together, and also for you in the community that has been sharing your shots, your knowledge about it. So we're going to play with the quarterback level 7 and the Titan ball. We do want to have some wind. That is something that we'll have to have in mind. Max side spin and max top spin. We only have 3 bars top spin. And now we do want to get this ball, as I said, as close as possible to the top there. The thing that you risk, and that you risk on the left side as well, if you do go into the rough or into the bunker, you will not be able to reach for the green in 2. And if you miss the rough or of the bunker here, it's going to be on the right side, it's going to be even bigger problem for you. So we lined it up. We did adjust to get up into max distance of our club in the end. So we just used the rings there to kind of get the distance to the right that we needed, then get up into max distance there. And we are getting this one very close there to the top, which is we are going to be very satisfied with. So there, then we do have the second shot, which is definitely going to be something that we'll have to have in mind when coming in. So we're going to go for the rough bump here for the second shot, and that is definitely something that we will have to tweak and something that is risky. If you do have like a guardian, and then you can go with max backspin, go with some overpower and go over the rough, but that is going to, of course, limit your opportunities to get that albatross, or at least go for the albatross. Our opponent makes a good shot, putting himself kind of close to the green, needs more overpower combined with the top spin and also some more curl to get this one on the green. And now it's our turn. Okay, we do have the Cataclysm level 2. You can play with a big dog, but I do think a club with a good amount of distance, like 180 yards as the Cataclysm has, sorry, 179 I think is the correct one, then we're going to reach there to the top. And as you can see, we're going to be in max distance here of our club, 3 bars top spin. And now we're going to adjust our club just for like max numbers. We're not going to add anything for elevation. So we're going to 6.5 with the Cataclysm level 2 is going to give us 3.6, 3.7, but let's say 3.5 rings. And then we're going to be very focused on hitting this shot perfect. Get it to bounce exactly where we want it. Then we'll roll and we're getting very close to that albatross. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this playthrough for the Pro Division in the Summer Major Tournament. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and good luck in the Summer Major.